Yeah, what's up, Broncos country? How's it going tonight, guys? So this is me, Mohammed's gut reaction to the 41-10 loss to the Baltimore Ravens today. And we got a lot of stuff to get into tonight. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a pretty good show tonight. I mean, I'm not really all that mad. Usually, I'm pretty ticked off when we lose, but I'm not that upset. And we'll get into why in a minute. But Mohammed, your gut reaction. What was your gut reaction to the game?
Oh, Eddie, I'm mad. I'm very mad because for whatever reason, I just had the feeling that we were gonna beat the Ravens, even though technically we shouldn't, right? I mean, this is a game that we kind of marked on the schedule as a loss for the Broncos. You know, the Ravens are a really good team, but for whatever reason, I just thought that we were gonna win. I don't know why, but I just thought that. I mean, okay, losing, but not 41 points. Come on. I just didn't see that happening. Now, um, I don't have an issue with Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is the quarterback. That's not something that's I'm concerned about because I've seen some posts on Facebook, saying he's garbage and all that. That doesn't make sense to me. He's the quarterback. We just gotta, like we said before, surround him with some talent. The defense. I don't know what happened to the defense, but to me it was clear that they just checked out. They just weren't going to tackle nobody. Just didn't care. Didn't like felt like the game was gone. And I guess you could see that they're not playing as they were in the past. Very very frustrating, very disappointing, borderline embarrassing, I would say. Um, I don't know, Eddie. Like with this loss going to the Chiefs on Sunday, next Sunday. I don't know, Eddie. I don't have a good feeling about it, to be honest with you. Go ahead.
Well, I will say this. I've been, not really arguing, but just talking to people online today. And I know it's hard to say this game was anywhere near competitive, with how bad the game was, 41-10. But mostly what I'm talking about whenever I say the game was competitive, well, Bo Nix and Sutton to me were the only competitive ones out there today in the first half. Like, whenever the defense was doing okay, like the first 2 drives the Ravens had, like, yeah, they drove down, they got points, but you could just tell it looked like they were playing better. And Bo Nix and Sutton on offense, like, the run game was getting stalled out. Um, Lil Jordan Humphrey, please cut that freaking kid. He's done. Like, I'm done with him. 110%. Like, yes, I know Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, they haven't really had a whole lot of success this year, especially Franklin with 2 deep shots that went right through his hands that he dropped. But Jordan Humphrey, that's 2 weeks back to back on opening drives. He literally killed the opening drive on the second play of the game, mind you. That was the second
Yeah,
play of the game,
yeah.
both weeks, and he fumbles it. And like people were talking about that play, like, oh, Bo Nix overthrew him. No, I'm sorry. I don't want to hear that excuse. Even if he did, the ball hit little Jordan Humphrey in the hands.
Supposed to
As
catch
a
it.
receiver, if the ball hits you in the hands,
Hmm.
that's what you get paid
Exactly.
for.
Exactly.
So I'm not even putting that interception on Bo Nix, but Sutton and Nix were the only two to me that seemed like they were being competitive out there today. And also, this goes back to Sean Payton for me. Like, before the game started, you knew the Ravens secondary was garbage. Like they're not good against the pass. I think they ranked like 26th and backward, like 26th and lower in all the rankings. I think in a few of them they ranked 32nd. So their pass defense is not good. You got it. Like, this is what I was talking about weeks ago. And actually, you said it too, Muhammad, when we're like, take the freaking handcuffs off. Like, and I was talking to somebody earlier, like, well, you want to keep a balanced offense. I'm like, no, you don't. Not all the time. If the run game's working more effectively than the passing game,
Agree.
you run more than you pass. If the
Yeah.
passing game's working better than the run game, you pass more. The run game, I think Javante was only getting like 3.4 yards a carry. He only got like, I think, 44 yards. Bo Nix was the second leading rusher again today with
Yeah.
37. And he was averaging more yards per carry. I think he was averaging 3.6 yards a carry. So the run game wasn't working. The Ravens' run defense is really, really good. Their pass defense is garbage. Throw the ball more. I don't want to see this balance crap if the passing game is working better.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see this passing crap if the run game's working better. But on the defensive side, Vance Joseph, we've been giving him a lot of credit this year, and rightfully so. Even if it was against top, bottom feeder teams. But today, I was really ticked off at Vance. He was playing too much zone coverage. Now, people were saying, "Oh, it's because the Ravens receivers are really fast. Man, they get burned a lot easier." I'm like, I don't care. I honestly don't. Even if you get beat, I don't care. Stick to your bread and butter. Zone was obviously not working.
Yeah,
Like the times I saw them play man versus the times I saw them play zone, like when they were playing zone, there was nobody within 5 yards of the receiver that was open. Nobody. And the guy would catch the ball, turn up field, and pick up like an additional 3, 4, 5 yards. Even in man coverage, if your guy's getting beat, he was getting beat by maybe 1 or 2 steps, and the receiver just made a play on the ball. I'm fine with that, but stick to your bread and butter, man coverage. That's what they should have done, and that's the reason why Baltimore was moving the ball through the air. The beginning of the game, the defense did kind of stop Derrick Henry a little bit, but as the game kept progressing forward, the run game for the Ravens just opened up. Like it was done. And also the same thing. Another reason why I was mad, or not really mad, but I was upset about the game was because they weren't playing contain on Lamar Jackson. They weren't. There was one play I saw where Jonathan Cooper came in and he didn't play contain, and Lamar just took off outside. He didn't even run that much today. So overall, I am not really all that upset. I marked this game as a loss. Like, I'm more upset about the fact that Bo Nix and Sutton were the only ones being competitive out there in the first half. I'm more upset at Sean Payton for not passing the ball more and running, trying to keep a balanced offense. I'm more mad at Vance Joseph for not playing enough man coverage. That's what I'm upset about. As far as the loss, I'm not really upset because I predicted them to lose. Maybe if they stuck to what worked, like the passing game, man coverage, maybe this doesn't become a blowout loss. Maybe if Garrett Bowles doesn't hold on that one play or
yeah,
Dix runs in for 20 yards for a touchdown, this might have been a completely different outcome. We might have still lost, but it might have been a closer game.
yeah.
I think once that happened, it just took all the air out of the sail and it was done. Um, but with that said, Mohammed, um, what players in your opinion, do you think are going to be gone after this year? Because I got a lot of players on my mind that I know are going to be gone because, like, just their play alone this year, there's no way they stay on this roster. But name some players you think are going to be gone this year.
Well, Garrett Bowles for sure. He's just like he's way up there in age. He's not. He's back holding. Like I could see flashbacks from previous seasons where he was doing that holding stuff. Um, little Jordan Humphrey, he needs to be gone. I don't know, Eddie. Like even our wide receivers. I mean, even like Mims, Troy Franklin. If they're not playing as well, they need to go. You know, that all line. We need to definitely go. We need to go ahead and like draft somebody. This upcoming season. I said Garrett Bowles need to go. McGlinchey's okay. I don't know. He's kind of inconsistent in my opinion. And he's keep getting injured and all this stuff. Um, who else? Tight ends. We definitely got to get some more tight ends. Troutman is good. Dulcich, I don't see him. He's non-existent at this point. Definitely. Overall, Eddie, I would say that offense would look completely different next season.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's a few, like most of the players you said, Dulcich, Garrett Bowles, Lil Jordan Humphrey, are most likely going to be gone. But there's a few others that you didn't mention that I believe are going to be gone after this year too. One of which is on defense, and that's Baron Browning. Like the guy is a no-show. Like, I mean, he's been hurt, I understand, but with the injuries, and even last week, whenever he played, he didn't like you saw more of Nick Benito. Nick Benito, Jonah Ellis, and Jonathan Cooper, they play better than he does.
Yeah,
So I believe he's gone. And the big one to me that's really, really going to be gone outside of all the guys you mentioned, Javante, he's done. Like, I don't want him here anymore. He can go.
yeah,
They need another power back that, I mean, maybe you say Estime, maybe if he gets to play a little bit more this year, maybe he, learns something and maybe next year he's our power back. but he needs to work on the fumbles. But Javante's vision is garbage. The guy can't see. He's not able to do what he used to do. Like, I don't even think it's just this offense, Mohammed. I think the entire team, even the defense, it's going to look a lot different next year. Even the guys on the defensive line, like Zach Allen is like the number one. You're like, hey, he's the best defensive lineman. But even he struggled today, which whatever. He was getting double teamed a lot today. Because I think that was the one guy. Like, he's not the guy that you have to actually game plan for, and you have to know where he's at on the field. He's a good, defensive lineman. Don't get me wrong, but he's not like that Aaron Donald. He's not that, I'd say TJ Watt, or he's not, he's not one of those players that you need to know where he's at on the field at all times and make sure he's covered. Otherwise, he's going to wreck the game. But he's a solid defensive lineman. John Franklin Myers, like, he was running to help stop the run, didn't really help. Malcolm Roach, same thing. DJ Jones, he's gone. Um, I just, it was so bad today that, like, the strength of our team was our defense, and they just they couldn't do anything today. But this team needs a lot, like, especially in the matters of offense. Like, to me, on defense, the only thing I really think they need on defense is they need, like I said, they need that true pass rusher. That guy that teams have to game plan for, know where he's at on the field all the times, a guy that can wreck the game. I understand it's hard to find one of those, but you got to get one. You get one of those, it opens up all these other guys to get in there and get sacks. Like, we need that kind of game changing, pass rusher.
But
Offense,
Eddie, if I would
go ahead.
say, Eddie, like, everything we're talking about here, I'm 100% sure that Sean Payton knows. Like, it's not like he doesn't see what we're saying, as far as like with the passing game, right? I mean, it was working. I've seen a couple of deep throws to Cortland Sutton. It did work. But that's why I keep saying I think they're not. I'm not saying they're not trying to win, but their goal this year is to evaluate. That's why they keep trying different things, different looks, trying to see who are we keeping, who are we gonna, let go, who are we gonna cut.
Yeah.
So that's the only way it will work to me, like Eddie. Like I don't see any other way because if we're saying it, I mean, Sean Payton knows, they can see that. So why wouldn't you try to bring other players? Why wouldn't you play like use the plays that actually work? That's what I think.
Well, going back to your point about players that they're probably going to get rid of, honestly, I know Bowles had that one really bad hold today that cost us a touchdown, but honestly, he might stick around for another year. They might sign him to a 1 year deal just to keep that spot filled. You know what I mean? For
Hmm.
1 year. That way they can go out and get that true number one receiver. They can go
Still
out and
draft
get that
one.
running back they need, go out and get
Right.
that tight end that they need, and the pass rusher. To me, right now, as it sits, there is tight end, receiver, running back. There's four big key positions this team desperately needs to be really competitive next year. And that, like I said, a pass rusher that can wreck the game whenever he needs to be. A true number one receiver that if you throw the ball up, he's just gonna be like, nah, to every DB. Like, even today, Cortland Sutton, he had a good game, but once it started getting in the second half, like, Bo Nix boxed out the freaking guy whenever he caught that touchdown pass. You don't see Cortland Sutton do that. He's not using his big frame, putting his hands out here to catch the ball, and the DBs are just coming up behind him and swatting the ball away. Like, you need that true number one receiver, that Bo Nix can, or tight end, that Bo Nix can go to whenever he's like, I need that security. But like I said, Kelsey with Mahomes, or Gronk with Tom Brady, or like the last couple of years in Buffalo, Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs. That security blanket that you can go to whenever you need a big play down the field. We need that receiver. We need that tight end. And for God's sake, we need that running back, because Javante is not like, and maybe it's a little bit on Sean Payton too, because I think it was the drive where they scored the touchdown where Sutton threw it to Nix and he caught the touchdown. I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, why are you stacking it like that? Why you got so much big personnel in there at the 1 yard line to run? Baltimore's defense is like the number one
Against
uh
the run.
rushing stopping defense in the
Yeah.
league.
Yeah.
Like, spread it out a little bit. Put a receiver out there or something. Maybe put two receivers out there. Give the threat that you might
System, yeah.
pass here at the goal line, knowing that their secondary and their DBs are not very good. And then, like, yeah, they got the touchdown, but it took all the way to fourth down when it shouldn't have took that long. A real good team would score on like first or second down. They wouldn't have to get all the way to fourth down, you know? And that kind of upset me. I'm just sitting there looking at my TV. I'm like, Sean, you know this is the number one rushing defense that is good
What
at
are you
stopping
doing?
the
Yeah.
run. Their secondary is bad at stopping the pass. Put a couple of receivers out there and have at least a threat of throwing the ball. I mean, you can still have Nicks in the, you can still have him under center. Just have Cortland Sutton and maybe Marvin Mims or somebody out there, and they stopped us. We did that big bunch. Like, even the last play, the fourth down, like they were still all kind of bunch, but the receivers were out there. They were a little spread out, but they weren't as much.
Yeah.
Like, it was still bunch. I'm just like, and we got lucky on that play. It had to go to a trick play, a pass from Sutton to Nick. I'm sorry, yeah, Sutton to Nicks in order to get the touchdown. I just
It
like
was pretty
stupid
cool though,
game.
Eddie. Right?
Oh, it was fun to
A
watch,
little
but it
Philly
just
special, if you would.
just stupid little things like that. Like,
Mm.
I know Sean Payton knows that the Ravens have the best rushing defense in the league and the worst passing defense, or one of the worst passing defenses in the league. He's got to know that. So why don't you do that? And honestly, that really did frustrate me. I mean, thankfully we got into the end zone because this game could have been a heck of a lot worse if we didn't at least get that touchdown. Um, but overall, um, now next week we got Kansas City. I did pick the Broncos to lose that game. Whenever I did my, beginning of the year season predictions, I mean, a lot of the games that I thought we were going to win, we have won. And the games I thought we were going to lose, we lost. Um, but the Chiefs game, I think we're going to lose because it's in Kansas City. Now, this defense, I don't think is going to have that hard of a time with Patrick Mahomes. Now, I think that's crazy to say. I understand. But Baltimore's offense is the top offense in the league right now. It has been all year. KC's offense, they're not winning because of Patrick Mahomes in that offense. He's one of the worst QBs in the league right now. They're
The
winning because of
defense.
their defense.
Yeah.
So I think this defense next week will have a better game. And next week's going to be the true test for Bo Nix. And because the Kansas City Chiefs defense, they're good at stopping the run, they're good at stopping the pass. Like, next week, you will have to have a balanced offense, I believe, because Casey's good at stopping balls. So you're going to have to, be a little trickerish and, be kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you have to be kind of, like, you can't show them what you're doing. You got to be kind of sneaky about what you're doing. Do a lot of misdirection and stuff, kind of like Kansas City does. That's the only way I feel like we're going to pull out this win against Kansas City. I think the defense will be fine because Patrick Mahomes on that offense is not very good. Kelsey has not been good this year. I'm not scared of the receivers. Um, but yeah, you're gonna have to, step up on offense next week. Next week for me is gonna be the true test for Bo. Like, because honestly, outside of maybe the Seahawks and the Steelers, Kansas City is like top 10 in defense, or like, all around defense. It's gonna be a true test for Bo Nix next week in the passing game, especially. So, but what are your thoughts about next week's Muhammad?
I sort of agree with you, Eddie. It's going to be a low scoring game, I believe, because both defenses are not going to allow a lot of points. But I agree, Bonix, if he needs to bring his A game, if we need to, if we need to have a chance of winning this game. But you never know, Eddie. I mean, it could be a trap game for the Chiefs, especially us coming out of this loss thinking, oh, the Broncos are, and that's what happens sometimes to teams. Who knows? I'll be very happy if we somehow pull out a win. It is going to be very difficult though, that's for sure.
Well, that's the thing too. I think next week in the run game, with Javante's vision being as bad as it is, and him not being able to see the holes, I think Audric Estime should get the start at
Totally.
maybe not number one. I think McLaughlin should probably get the start because he's more of a receiving, scat back type of running back. Audric Estime is that power back. Um, I think he should get the start over Javante next week and see what he can do. Like, the only thing that worries me about Audric Estime is, yes, his security with the ball. but at least the guy has vision. He can see the hole and get through it. Um, I think at that point, like Javante, you just watch the film. You could tell he can't see the hole.
Mm.
He can't do it. So I think Audric Estimé should get the start next week. And for the love of God, actually, I'm not gonna lie, Muhammad, there was one thing that did kind of tick me off today, and it was Lil Jordan Humphrey still being in the game. Like I
Mm.
don't like what is Sean's fascination with this guy?
I don't know.
He's
Yeah,
not good. He's not.
that's not.
I would like get Devon Vele in there. He made a really great catch today. I mean, it was kind of a low thrown ball by Bo Nix, but he made a really great catch for a first down. I want to see more of him. Like if it comes down between Vele and Lil Jordan Humphrey, give me Vele or 10 times out of 10. Like I would rather
I
see
agree.
him play.
I
What
don't
are your
understand
thoughts
it
on that?
either. Yeah, I don't understand it either, Eddie. Like sometimes I look at it, I'm like, is Sean Payton just trying to piss Broncos country off? Because you're absolutely right. It doesn't make any sense. And it's not like he's improving or doing anything better. I mean, there's a lot of inconsistency with this game. So I don't know, Eddie. Like I don't know why he's still there. Like I don't know why, the former player from this. I don't know, Eddie. Maybe that's what it is, you know?
I'm You brought in the kicker from New Orleans. You brought in a defensive tackle, Malcolm Roach from the Saints, and then you brought in little Jordan Humphrey. Okay, Malcolm Roach, I can understand. He's good at stopping the run. You brought him in to help stop the run because we really needed, help with that this year, and in previous years. You brought in Will Lutz, okay, whatever. McManus, he's been bouncing around from team to team. I think he was on the Jags, and now I can't remember where he's. I think he's in Green Bay now. Um, Apparently he had some trouble,
DUI or
like
something, right?
huh?
He got a DUI or something, didn't he? Oh
Yeah,
no,
he
no,
had some
that
kind of
was a incident. Okay, yeah.
yeah, he had some kind of legal trouble.
Hmm.
Um, do like, I mean, honestly, you could put Will Lutz and Brandon McManus together. I'd say they're about even. Like, I mean, I don't think you really upgraded. Basically, is what I'm saying at the kicker position. I think you pretty much stayed the same. I mean, you maybe can make an argument for one being better than the other, but to me, I just don't see much difference. Um, so it's like Malcolm Roach, I understood. Will Lutz, okay, whatever. Sean wants comfortability, with players on the roster, so he brings in Will Lutz, okay, whatever. But Lil Jordan Humphrey, same thing. I mean, he brought him in to, maybe have that comfortability, but it's like, dude, after these last two games, how can you sit here and justify to keep him in there? Like, you're not even playing the young guys you drafted. You drafted freaking Marvin Mims. You drafted Troy Franklin. Yes, I understand. They're
That's the
not
next. Yeah.
they're not really, playing all that great, but give them a chance. The only way they're going to learn is by going out there and playing the game. But yeah, you're going to get a little Jordan Humphrey, a guy that literally first drive of the last two games, the second play of that drive, he fumbles the ball or he freaking can't catch and the ball gets picked off. Like, I don't get it. Why not put the young guys in there? I mean, you got three young guys. Vele to me is honestly probably the best one out of the young guys, out
Hmm.
of Mims and Franklin and him. Put him in there more. Get Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims out there more. Yeah, I understand they haven't been playing well, but maybe they need some experience. Maybe getting them out there and letting them play. I mean, that's the whole point of the season, like you said, Mohammed, was to see about Bo Nix and about the players on this team. Why are they not out there? Why are you playing an aging old freaking receiver that you
Hmm.
had in New Orleans that keeps making mistakes?
But
I, I,
Eddie,
I
that's the part that I don't understand. I mean, I'm saying that it looks like they're evaluating, and if you're looking at the Broncos and thinking that this team or Sean Payton is evaluating, they're not really looking at the whole thing with winning. We are, the fans are. If you look at it this way, it makes sense. But then at the same time, if he's evaluating, why aren't you playing Estime? Why aren't you playing Mims more? Why, you're right. You're absolutely right. Like, let's see what they got because if they're not working out, we should, look for somebody else next season. So there's this contradiction going on with the Broncos. I don't know.
Well, see, I'm not saying you need to just pull little. Well, I am saying you need to pull little Jordan Humphrey out after those last two games. Before I was like, whatever. He wants to have the comfortability. That's fine. Whatever, cool. But with like Williams and stuff, it's like, okay, I understand putting them out there and seeing if they're going to be on the roster. I mean, Javante's up for a contract after this year. He's not getting it from the Broncos. I can tell you
Yeah.
that much right now. He's not. Um, But it's like you drafted all those young guys. If that's true, like that's what makes me think Sean Payton's actually trying to win. Because it's like, why are you not playing the young guys? If this is truly an evaluation year, why are you not playing the young guys? Why aren't we seeing more of Jonah Ellis? Why aren't we seeing more of Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, Audric Estime? Why aren't we seeing more of Lucas Kroll, maybe, or some of these younger guys like a Nate Atkins? Why are we not see like we haven't seen Chris? I mean, I understand the corners. We got Riley Moss, who's our cornerback too, of course Sertan, Jaquan McMillan, but every now and then bring in, freaking Abrams Drain and just see what he is.
Mhm.
Like, just see what he can do. And this can maybe go to the tight end a little bit too. Like I understand, like maybe kind of like with Vic Fangio and Drew Lock a few years back. Vic Fangio just hated Drew Lock. He didn't want him to succeed. It seemed like at some points. I think it's the same thing with Dulcich and Sean Payton. Like we all know that Dulcich is probably not going to be here next year. He's going to be gone if not being traded within the next couple of days before the trade deadline. But it's like you haven't really played him at all. I think like the first two games he had some snaps, and after that you didn't really see him. Like, why are we not seeing Dulcich? Like, I don't get it. Like, he's only been in the league for 2 years.
But see,
Like,
Eddie,
why don't we see more?
yeah, it could be that they're not gonna play him until they know that we're out of the, playoffs picture. Like once they know that we're not gonna make the playoffs at some point, they'll be like, well, just see what the young guys have. But then at the same time, that means you're trying to win. I don't know, Eddie. I
It
don't
doesn't make
understand it.
sense to me. Like,
Yeah.
they got all these young guys, but they're not using them. Like, I don't get it. Like, even like I like Josh Reynolds. He's a great receiver, whatever. But like, that's another thing. If this is truly an evaluation year, why would you even go out and sign Josh Reynolds? You still got Marvin Mims. I mean, granted, yes, you did that before the draft. You signed him, but you drafted Troy Franklin, Bo Nix's buddy. You have Marvin Mims. Like you drafted Devon Vele, and it's like, why are you drafting these young receivers but you're not going to use them? Why are you drafting this young running back if you're not going to use them? Why are you drafting, Jonah Ellis if you're not going to use them that much? Like, make it make sense. Like, I want to see these young players develop because what are you going to do? Throw them in next year into the fire and be like, okay, go. We're trying to compete this year. And then they're not developed properly because you didn't give them enough playing time this
Mm.
year. Like, it confuses me. Next week against the Chiefs, I hope we see a lot more of Audric Estime. I hope we see a lot more of Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims. I hope we see less of Javante. I hope we see less of Lil Jordan Humphrey. Honestly, I hope we see less of Baron Browning and more of Jonah Ellis, in
I
my
agree.
opinion.
I
And
agree.
maybe even DeAndre Tillman, because I watched him in the UFL this year. He torched my Battlehawks. Like he was destroying them. He was constantly getting after the quarterback. And he played a few snaps for us during the season this year, and he was actually pretty good. I like to see him more. Why are we, I just honestly, I want to get your opinion on this too, Mohammed. Like the trade deadline, I believe, is Tuesday. I believe. I think. I'm not sure. Tuesday or Wednesday, the trade deadline is. I think the Broncos need to start shopping some of these players. Shop
Yeah.
Javante. Shop Baron Browning. Like, you're probably not going to shop Sutton, even though earlier in the season I was all for it because he didn't seem like he was really trying. But he's been our most productive wide receiver thus far. And, but that's not going to keep it from you can still keep Sutton and give Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims and Devon Vele plenty of touches and see what they have. But honestly, I could see Baron Browning on the move, and I could see Javante Williams and Greg Dulcich. Are those the players you think could be on the move, or is there anybody else you think?
Yeah, and all that talk we had last week about the Broncos being buyers, that's just out of the window. They're just going to be sellers, I think. Yeah, I mean, even Sutton, I mean, if they're not really looking at winning, Eddie, anybody, if they get like a third for Sutton, they'd be like, okay, we can use this pick next season. I don't know, Eddie. Like, it's really weird and confusing what the Broncos are doing, or Sean Payton, really. So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, Eddie. Um, we'll see. When is the day? What day is it, Eddie? The deadline.
I'm not sure. It's either Tuesday or Wednesday. The trade
Okay.
deadline is.
Because I mean,
I
I
can look
thought
it
they'll
up
make
real
any
quick, but
moves. I really thought they're gonna make a move before this game, but I didn't see anything. Like I'm like, come on.
Yeah. No, I was saying they needed to trade for somebody after the Panthers game because I truly believe maybe if we had a little bit, if we had that pass rusher that we desperately needed on the edge, or if we had a true number one receiver or a true running back that can actually see the holes or a true tight end, maybe we still lose this game today, but I feel like it's a lot closer.
The
But
score, yeah, the score
you
would be
know,
better.
it's just we don't have a number one receiver. We don't have that number one running back. We don't have a number one tight end. We don't have that elite pass rusher. And it showed today. The pass rusher, especially, our defense just
I
got
agree.
torched.
I agree,
Like,
Eddie. A couple of
if you
plays
had
I've
that pass
seen.
rusher, oh, go
Mhm.
ahead.
No, no, I agree with you. I've seen a couple of plays where, a couple of touchdowns where I knew if we had like a I mean, not a, like somebody like a Von Miller, that wouldn't be the case. It wouldn't be as easier for them to score touchdowns. Couple of
Yeah.
plays, that just like they couldn't. The right tackle had the pass rusher. I was like, okay, well, you're not getting to the quarterback, and he's just sitting there, and Lamar Jackson just throwing the ball. Come on.
Just to answer your question, the trade deadline it comes up. I think it's 4 p.m. Eastern, November 5th, which is Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll
So,
be shocked if they trade for somebody. They're really just trading away
well,
players.
I'm just saying, be prepared to look out on Twitter these next couple of days because you might see a Broncos player traded, if not one or two. This because I think the Broncos have 6 draft picks this year. I think they got a first, a second, a third. I think they have a fourth, no fifth, and two sixth or something like. I can't remember off the top of my head.
But
But
Eddie, who do you think like a team would be so interested in? Maybe Sutton. Who else do
I
you
can see a
see?
team being interested in Baron Browning as a
Aaron
backup.
Brown. Okay,
Like Baron Browning, Javante, there's teams out there that could use a backup running back, a backup, like
pass rusher.
pass rusher. And
Mhm.
I could think of the Lions, for instance. Like they lost Aiden Hutchinson earlier in the year. You could think of maybe trying to think. I would say the Browns, but they're kind of out of it. Like a Super Bowl winning team, like maybe even the 49ers might, look for
Sutton.
a running back since
Okay.
Christian McCaffrey's not coming back this year. Maybe they'll be like, hey,
Mm-mm.
we'll take Javante, you know. Uh,
Would you take
so I'm
McCaffrey
just,
next season, Eddie?
huh?
I said, would you take McCaffrey?
I would, but I doubt he's leaving San Francisco. Uh,
But I mean, Eddie, seriously, like we're laughing about it, but this is the type of player that we need. Somebody dynamic like that. You know?
well, I do think Christian McCaffrey is that, he used to be. I just don't know what he's going to be after this injury.
Injury.
Like he might start be I mean, how old is he now? Like 28, 29. He's gonna start getting
Yeah, I
to
don't
that.
think he's 30 yet. He's not 30.
Yeah, but even 28, 29 for running back, that's like a dinosaur.
Mhm.
I mean, Derrick Henry, yeah, he popped off today. I understand that. I mean, I'm not saying that aging running backs still can't have a good couple of games here and there during the season, but as far as them being that explosive, every game kind of player, like I don't think Christian McCaffrey is going to be that after this year. I think he's going to be a serviceable backup starting next year. Because I don't know what the injury was. What was it? Something with his ankle or his
Mhm.
Achilles or something? I can't
Something like
remember.
that.
Um, but yeah, they need. I think they should trade those guys and get like a third, maybe a fourth. I mean, you could still find good. I mean, George Payton and Sean, I think they're finding good talent in these rounds. It's just like they're not using them productively. Like I think Troy Franklin was what? He was a fourth round pick. Marvin Mims was a third or a fourth. I think the talent's there. They're just not using them enough. Like, I mean, hell, Baron Browning himself, Jonathan Cooper, those were day 3 picks.
Yeah.
Jonathan Cooper's been playing great this year. Nick Benito, what was he, a fourth round pick? And he's had a sack. He even had another one today.
Yeah. It's good.
He's had a sack in every single game he's played for like the last 7 games. So, but yeah, I mean, you're not going to, I mean, I'm not saying you can't find that game changing pass rusher or that game changing wide receiver, running back, or tight end in like the 4th round or 5th round. You could. But if there's anybody I trust that could do that, it would be George Payton because he's good at finding good young talent. Like maybe not, elite talent, but good talent. It's only one of these times he's going to find that elite, whatever it is, late in the draft. So I hope to God, like the trade deadline's in 2 days. I think the Broncos are going to trade probably a couple of players, like I said. Dulcich is probably one. I mean, that's an obvious one. The guy hasn't
Mhm.
played in what, 6 games? He's been a healthy scratch for 6 weeks. Like, if you're not going to trade him, then what the heck are you doing with him? Why is he not on the field? I mean, yeah, he might not be the greatest tight end, but he could be an extra, he's a solid weapon to have out there, even as a decoy, you know?
But Eddie, depending on who they trade, that's probably going to be an indication that they're pretty much kind of giving up on the season, right? Depending on who they trade.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, here's my thing. I told you earlier today, well, I've been saying all year, I had the Broncos winning or losing both these games between the Ravens and the Chiefs these 2 weeks
Mhm.
because we're playing two of the teams that were in the AFC Championship game last year, and we're playing them in their house. I was like,
Mhm.
these are losses. Like, this is the meat of our schedule. This week and next week, the meat of our schedule. After this, like, I'm not trying to downplay the Falcons because they're pretty good. I don't know if they won today, but the Falcons are pretty good. But we're playing the Falcons in Denver. We're playing Kirk Cousins. I think we can handle that. I think we can get the win there. Um, the next week after that, you got the Raiders in Las Vegas, which I'm not scared of the Raiders. Nobody is. They're honestly packing it in. Like after that time we played the Raiders and we beat them, I was talking to some Raider fans, including my dad, who by the way is a Raiders fan. He's like pretty much like, yeah, it seems like they're just packing it in. They're done. Um, and then you got I think the Browns after that Monday Night Football here in Denver. Come on, I'm not scared of the Browns. We beat them last year with that elite defense, 29-12. And then you got the Colts after that, who I'm not really worried about. And then after that, I think you got the Chargers again, the Bengals, and the Chiefs. And if the Chiefs keep going the way they're going, like we already talked about this, week 18, they're going to rest their starters. That could be an easy win for us.
Yeah.
If they're resting their starters and we're just trying to play to get the win. But the Bengals, their defense is just as bad. Joe Burrow, I'm not as worried about because I mean they don't really have a run game either. The only thing the Bengals have going for them is Joe Burrow in that passing game. That's it. Their defense ain't good. They don't have a run game. So if we shut down Joe Burrow's and the Bengals passing game, we should win that game. The Chiefs, like I said, if they're resting the starters week 18, we should win that game. We should beat the well, I don't know. Maybe we get swept by the Chargers. I don't know. It just depends on how they look come that week. I mean, they've been playing pretty good all season. But like the Falcons, the Browns, the Raiders, the Colts, those are games we should win. Like even if we lose next week against the Chiefs, we're still sitting at what is it, 5-5? If you go on a run and win 4 straight games, that's 9 wins right there. And then all you need is one more win to be 10-7. So I don't know. Like even if they trade people, I think they could still like even if they trade Dulcich, they trade Browning, they trade Javante. I think those games are still very winnable. Like I mean, you're not trading anybody that you're really losing. Like okay, oh my God, we're trading Baron Browning, so there goes our pass rush. Or you're trading Javante. Oh, there goes our running game. Or you're trading
I was
Dulcich.
talking
Oh,
about
there
like
goes our tight end
Sutton.
room. Like
Like if they trade Sutton, that would mean to me like because I mean that's really the wide receiver I would say that we have. You know.
true. I mean, he's not a number one, but
Yeah.
he's not a security blanket. He's not a number one, but he's a good receiver that you can rely on sometimes. And I agree with you. Like if they do trade him, that pretty much is an indication. But I'm just saying, if they trade like Browning, Williams, or Dulcich, you're not like, oh God, the season's completely over. We can't win those games without these guys. Like we can win those games easily without Browning or Javante or Dulcich. We know that.
Mhm.
So I just I don't know, man, but I was really like I felt like and personally, Mohammed, like out of these 2 games, like the Ravens game and the Chiefs game, um, I was like I had us losing both of them, but I'm like, if there is a game between these two that we're gonna win, it has to be this one.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I say that is because, like I said, the Ravens passing defense is god awful. The run defense is pretty good, but this is where I was like, you need to just let Bo Nix off the leash again, just let him go out there and sling the ball around. Um, I figured the defense being as high ranked as they were, like third in the league, Ravens offense being one in the league, like it would be at least somewhat competitive and close. Nope. The defense gave up. I was like, this is the game where you might be able to eke out a win. Because the Chiefs going against the Chiefs and Kansas City next year, because like They don't play until tomorrow because my thing is next week's game against Kansas City is going to be brutal. The reason why is because if they lose tomorrow against the Bucks, they're going to be pissed and they're going to be coming back home to probably kick our ass. But if they
Yeah,
win,
pretty much.
they're going to be sitting there. What is it, 8-0 or 9-0, and they're going
Mhm.
to want to continue to keep that undefeated streak alive. So they're probably going to play their hearts out against, especially a division rival, because those games are never easy.
Yeah.
So I just, I don't know, man. It's like I said, I
Just
think
hope it's
next week's game
close,
is going to be
Eddie.
rough.
Yeah. I hope it's a close game, not like this game.
It depends. Like we've talked about earlier in the year, this team's also Jekyll and Hyde. From one week to the next, you don't know what kind of team you're going to get. Like I've said this earlier. Like to me, it seems I, like a lot of people were talking about, oh, Bo Nix's confidence is going to be wavered. No, it's not. If there's one surefire thing I know for a fact about this team is that Bo Nix's confidence will never waver. It never will. He could throw 6 interceptions in a game and he'd be like, oh, I'm still just as good. I'm still that guy. I can do this. I'll just have to bounce back next week. And his what's the other word? Like I said this earlier, like he's a winner and he's a gamer. Like Bo Nix is a gamer. He wants to win.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not trying to go back in time, but I want to get your thoughts on this real quick, Mohammed. Going back a few weeks to that Raiders game, he threw the ball deep to Troy Franklin. He drops a wide open pass through his hands. And you see Bo Nix going over there yelling at Sean Payton. If what you're saying is right, that Payton's just like kind of like, I'm evaluating talent, really don't care about winning this year. And Bo Nix like, no, I want to freaking win. I'm here to win, not to freaking just evaluate everything. I know you're evaluating me too, but I want to win. Take the handcuffs off. Let me do my thing. If I fail, I fail. We'll just move on to the next week. And I think it's driving them crazy. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much, Eddie. I mean, Eddie, like when I see our wide receivers dropping balls or, fumbling or doing all this crazy stuff, and I'm like, just imagine if you replace those players with some good talent, where we would be or where would Bonix be? And that's what kind of gives me hope for the future. I mean, hopefully next season we can get some good players in here. Sean Payton is, I don't know, Eddie, like I don't know what he's waiting for, you know? I mean, the first 4 or 5 games, maybe I would say that he's still a rookie. Maybe he's trying to see but now he should, you know? I want to see more deep players, deep go. And like today was a perfect example for it, but he just wouldn't do it. And we still lost. I mean, if that's what you're worried about, it's the end result is the same. We still lost. We could have at least tried, you know?
Well, here's my thing. Like, not saying I'm like agree with this or even that it's the truth, but maybe Sean is protecting Bo Nix because he is like I don't know how to say this because, like I said, I don't think Bo Nix's confidence is ever going to waver. Like I said, the guy could throw 3 or 4 or 5, 6 interceptions, and he's like, nope, I'm just going to go back out there next game and just prove
Yeah.
that that's not who I am.
Yeah.
But I think Sean might be scared that he's like, oh, I don't want Bo Nix to fail so miserably that people are like, oh, like you said, his ego. He's like, oh, I don't want people to sit here and say like, oh, you picked the wrong guy, Sean. You're stupid. What are you doing? Why'd you pick this kid? He's garbage. So he's trying to protect him, but it's like, dude, it doesn't matter because if Bo Nix doesn't turn into that franchise guy, which I think he will, but just say hypothetically he doesn't, Sean Payton's gonna be like, oh, well, that just tarnished my legacy. But dude, that's a chance you take. If you're that worried about it, you should just stay retired. Or I went to a different team that had a quarterback. Like you could have went to the Chargers last year who had Justin Herbert.
Hmm.
Like if you're that worried about it, why did you bother? Why did you bother coming to Denver? Why did you come out of retirement? You could have went anywhere else or stayed at Fox. Like,
Eddie, it's funny that you said that because a friend of mine asked me, I think it was a few weeks ago, he was like, do you think Sean Payton is overrated? And I'm like, no, I think he's an excellent coach, excellent offensive mind, but his ego is the problem. That's his detriment, I think, Eddie. That's what it comes down to. As far as like coaching, he knows his stuff, but his ego stands in the way.
I
That's what
don't
it
know,
is.
man. It's getting frustrating to me, honestly. Like Like, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna wait until we're mathematically eliminated for the playoffs and then let Bo Nix sling it, or is he just gonna keep protecting him all year? Like,
Mm.
even if we're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, say come week 16 or 17, or maybe even earlier, depending on how the rest of the season goes, like, is he still gonna sit here and try to protect Bo Nix? If right now the reason why you're not taking the handcuffs off Bo Nix is because you're trying to win, like that's still stupid to me because it's like you're trying to evaluate him. Let him go out there and sling it. Yeah, he's a rookie. He's gonna make rookie mistakes. If he would have took the handcuffs off week one and just let him sling it all over, and Bo Nix threw for like 20 interceptions and like 20 touchdowns or something, you know, you're right. His ego would be like, oh, why? People are gonna be like, why did you draft this guy? And Sean Payton's ego is gonna be like, whoa, 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 whoa. He can't blame anybody but himself because he
Yeah,
drafted him. But it's like, dude, he's a rookie. Who cares? Every rookie learns different. I think Peyton Manning, what he throw like 24, 25 touchdowns his rookie year. So you're telling me, Sean, if you would have drafted Peyton Manning back in 1998, you wouldn't have released the handcuffs, and if you thrown 24 touchdowns, you're really going to care what other people say? He turned into a Pro Bowl Hall of Famer. Like, stop being scared. Just go let it happen. And honestly, I don't think it would happen. And I don't see why Sean would be scared. Bo Nix is very safe with the ball.
he is.
Like, he's a good decision maker. He knows what he's doing. Like, honestly, if anything, Bo Nix, to me, he's better than Russell Wilson
I
because he
agree.
actually can
That's
scan the field. He knows
hmm
where to go with the ball. He can throw timing routes. Sits in the pocket. I mean, yeah, every now and then he still has a little bit of jittery feet whenever he's in the pocket, but he's still a rookie. That's still going to happen sometimes. Heck, I've seen veteran players do it. I've seen Aaron Rodgers do it against us this year. When the pass rush is getting after you consistently, your feet are going to start getting jittery. It doesn't matter what kind of quarterback you are. And that's where the talent and the arm strength come in. Sometimes you're going to have to use your talent and arm strength to bail you out because your footwork might be bad on one play. Your footwork ain't going to be great every play. That's just not how it works. And
but you know,
I'm just,
Eddie, something that's like kind of confusing to me, like I think Broncos country is so divided when it comes to Bo Nix, you know, and I can see the talent, and I know I know the fans can see the talent too, but what is it like? Why? Like I keep every week, doesn't matter what happens, he's garbage. That's the word that they like to use, garbage. He's this. I don't get it, Eddie. Like I really don't.
I do.
What is it?
It's because of Paxton Lynch and Drew Lock. Like, now people are probably going to say that's not true, but over the past 10 years, we've drafted two quarterbacks we thought could be the franchise guy. We drafted Paxton Lynch, I think it was 26th overall in the first round back in 2016. Then you drafted Drew Lock 3 years later in 2019 in the second round with like the 42nd or 43rd pick. And both those quarterbacks failed. But that's the thing. Like,
So
and
it's
some
trauma,
fan,
Eddie. Like we're the Broncos
I
country is
think it's trauma.
traumatized.
And I also think that a lot of Bronco fans think we should have sat Bo Nix this year.
That's
Like, I
that.
think that's what
That's
it is.
crazy.
But because, like, they're going to be like, I've heard people point out to Patrick Mahomes. Oh, Patrick Mahomes' full rookie year, he didn't start until the last game of the season. Or, they're like Jordan Love, for instance, like he didn't play until year three whenever Aaron Rodgers left. Aaron Rodgers, same thing. When he came in, he sat for 3 years before he started. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, Josh Allen started. Yeah, it was rough, but eventually he became the quarterback we know today. Peyton Manning started his rookie year. Yeah, he struggled, but he became a great quarterback. John Elway struggled his rookie year. Guess what? He became the quarterback that we, know now. I mean, there's plenty. Like, I don't think sitting a rookie quarterback or starting a rookie quarterback really makes a difference in their development. I don't. I think it depends on the coaching staff,
I agree.
the team, and the quarterback himself. Sitting a rookie quarterback or not sitting a rookie quarterback, that has nothing to do with his development. None. It doesn't mean if he sits for a year or two or three, he's going to be great. If he starts year one, doesn't mean he's going to be great. There's quarterback. You could go back through history and look. There's quarterbacks that started, rookie quarterbacks that started. They struggled, they got better, and they became great quarterbacks. But on the flip side, you can sit there and say, well, there's quarterbacks that they started as rookies and they never panned out. But you can say the same thing about guys that sat. You'd be like, oh, guys sat. for a couple of years, they came out and they became great quarterbacks. Or you could say, oh yeah, this quarterback sat for 2, 3 years, but he still was a bust. He still wasn't good. Like you can go either way. I don't think that has any bearing on a quarterback's success in the NFL. I think it has to do with coaching, weapons, and the QB. The QB has to want to be there. He has to want to get better. I mean, a QB can still want that, and he can still play like garbage. He can still be a bust because he's just not that guy. You have
Hmm.
to like what do they call it? The it factor. You have to have that it factor. You have to have the it factor, and you have to have the right coaching. If you don't have those two things, especially, it doesn't matter who you are. You're not going to be a successful quarterback in this league. So but your thoughts on that? I think that's what it is, Muhammad. What do you think about that?
I mean, that kind of makes sense, Eddie, because like honestly, it goes back to what I was saying before. Like he wasn't my top choice as a quarterback, but then when I sat back and I started looking at everything, and I'm like, and start seeing all these games and stuff, I'm like, the kid could play. He's got the talent. He just need a surrounding cast around him, and I think that's what he needs. So, and I'm thinking if that's what I'm like, that's how I feel. Why is other people not seeing it? Like they just jump. He's garbage. He's trash. He's this. He's that. Like I don't get it, Eddie. Like but maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're just traumatized. I don't blame them. We did go through a lot after Super Bowl 50. We didn't really do much, but I just don't know when that's gonna stop. Maybe us going to the playoffs. Maybe I don't know, Eddie.
It's not going to stop until this team. Like I think you're right. Like honestly, I don't think you're right there, Mohammed. I think this team just goes above 500. I think some people will start coming over to that side, But honestly, everybody in Broncos country, not everyone in Broncos country is going to be happy until Bo Nix wins the freaking Super Bowl. I think. Like I truly believe that. Like there's gonna be some people that'll come over to this side whenever if the Broncos go above 10 or if they go above 500 this year. They're like 9-8, 10-7, 11-6 by the end of the year. Some people will come over and Bo Nix plays okay. If but then like nobody's gonna be happy until the Broncos make the playoffs. Like next year or this year, whichever. If the Broncos make the playoffs, then you're gonna have a little bit more people come over. If the Broncos make the Super Bowl, you're gonna have more people. Like no one, like not everybody. Even if the Broncos win the damn Super Bowl, not everybody's gonna be happy. They'll find something to complain about Bo Nix because they just want to be like, I was right. Bo Nix is not good.
It's
Like
just crazy, Eddie.
we know for a fact a lot of people in Broncos country didn't like the pick of Bo Nix at 12. Like I was on a stream that night with our old sports network that we were with, Colorado Sports Connection. We were sitting there at 12. Brock Bowers was still on the board. Like three guys in that chat that night were like, "You can't pass on Bowers here, even though Bo Nix is there. You got to get Bowers." I'm like, "No, you. If Sean thinks that's the quarterback, you got to get your quarterback. What? So what? You're gonna go out and get a future superstar tight end? Like just like right now, the Raiders. Like whoop
The
de doo.
Raiders would
Okay,
have
we
picked
got your
him.
superstar tight end, but you ain't got a quarterback, and you're worse than the division.
I know they wanted him, Eddie. If we had passed on him, they would have. Yeah,
They would have snagged him easily.
yeah, yeah.
And my thing is like right now, like if we had say we didn't take Bo Nix at 12 this past year and we took Brock Bowers, okay, cool. We got Zach Wilson and freaking Jared Stidham throwing to him. Good luck. We'd probably be the Raiders right now if we didn't take Bo Nix.
Hmm.
Like Bo Nix's mobility alone has won us a few games this year.
Yeah.
It has. His arm has maybe won us a game or two. Like his ability to throw the ball downfield. Now people are gonna be like, "Oh, you're playing against bad teams." Okay, well, what's your point? We were only picked to win 5 games this year. We're halfway through the season. We already hit that mark. If we
But see,
win one
Eddie.
more game this year, we're above what freaking Vegas said.
Yeah, I worry about him getting hurt though. Like when he started running. I mean, I like it. I like the fact he's mobile and stuff, but it scares me a little bit, to be honest with you.
I think that's
You know.
any fan, even with the Ravens, even Raven fans. I'm sure anytime Lamar takes off, they're
Mm.
terrified. Even though
Yeah.
that's what he does. That's what he's known for. I mean, he's more of a pocket passer now. Like he's developed that part of his game. But we've always known Lamar as the, dual threat quarterback, the scrambling quarterback, the guy that can get out and run and pick up a first down if need be, or Josh Allen. I'm sure even
Mhm.
Bill fans, whenever they see Josh Allen run out of the pocket, they're like
Mhm.
scared because he's going to get popped and he's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever Bo Nix runs, am I scared of that? Yeah. Whenever I see him get hit as he's going down, I'm like, oh, please get up, please get up, please get up. Don't be hurt.
Yeah.
And but that's part of the game. I mean, Bo Nix can get just as hurt. Josh Allen and Lamar, they can get just as hurt if they're sitting in the pocket and they get freaking annihilated from behind because their left tackle bowls, gives up a play or something, or their right tackle Stanley or whoever the Bills' right tackle is gives up a big play and a pass rusher just comes up from behind the quarterback and just annihilates him.
Eddie, like this, since we're talking about, I don't like Bulls. Like, I just want him gone, honestly. I know what you were saying earlier about them keeping him another year, but let's just draft somebody or trade for, I don't know. Like, he just annoys me. Seriously, Eddie.
I,
Because at
I'm
any
not
moment,
gonna.
he could be like, oh, I'm just gonna hold. Today, I'm just gonna start holding. I don't,
Well, I mean, I'm fine with that in a sense. Like, if Bolt's like, oh crap, I just got beat, he just grabs the guy and holds him. Like, I'd rather that happen than Bo Nix get murdered.
yeah, yeah.
Personally, I'm just saying. But
I
like
take
today,
it.
that play, like Bowles, it was a corner. He was freaking blocking a corner. Bo Nix was already out. Why are you holding him? Like that was stupid. I
Eddie, I was
understand holding.
celebrating. I was jumping, and I was like, touchdown. My son was watching me too. And then a flag holding. Come on,
I mean,
Bulls.
like I said, I
Killing
don't
us.
care about. I mean, I do care, but like if Bowles is holding because he's trying to protect Bo Nix from getting murdered, okay, I can deal with that. I'd rather take the 5 yards and our quarterback get freaking annihilated and probably be out for the season. But whenever it's a play like that where Bo Nix is already on the edge and you're going up against the corner, just let him go. Just be like, you know
I
what? I'm
think
gonna
he
put my
does
hands
it.
up like
Yeah,
this.
he's not doing it on purpose. I'm sure it's just something that happens.
Probably. But
Yeah.
I'm just I don't know, man. Like this year, like I think like I said, I think we're gonna lose next week against the Chiefs. And after that, that 4 game stretch between the Falcons game and I think it's either the Colts or the Browns game in that fourth game, I think we can very easily rattle off 3 to 4 wins. I really do. And we'll be sitting at 9-5. Those last 3 games of the season, it's probably going to be, you'll probably maybe go, I don't know, the Chargers, Bengals, you probably lose to both of them, be sitting at 9-7, and then probably beat the Chiefs week 18, if they rest their starters. Or it could be you beat the Chargers, lose to the Ravens and Chiefs, or the uh, Bengals or Chiefs, or maybe you beat the Bengals. I believe in that last 3 game stretch, you beat at least one of those teams. And you're probably like you're either sitting at 9-8 or 10-7 by the end of the year. And I think a lot of Broncos country would be happy with a winning record this year,
Yeah.
honestly. But with all that said, the last thing I wanted to get to tonight was uh, Bo Nix. To me, he's competitive. He's the guy of the future. He's got the it factor. He just needs better weapons and a better running game behind him. You get those, dude. The ceiling or the sky is the ceiling. It really is. Like, just and you don't even have to get a top tier tight end. Just get a serviceable tight end and get a number one receiver and a running back that actually, has vision and get a pass rusher. You get, and that's what I was saying earlier, Muhammad. That's the reason why I think they keep Bulls because they have to give Bo Nix a weapon, plain and simple. They have to. Whether it's a tight end or a number one wide receiver, they have to get one of those two things this offseason. They have to get a running back that can actually see the freaking holes and be what Javante was a few years ago, where he can just run people over. And they need a pass rusher. They have to get someone on that defensive line that, like I said, teams have to game plan for. They have to know where he's at all times on the field. They have to get that. They have to get a number one receiver, and they have to get a running back. If you can hang on to Bulls for one more year, get one more serviceable year out of him, but you get that number one wide receiver, you get that pass rusher you need, you get that running back, and then in 2026, you can go into the draft and be like, okay, first round, boom, left tackle, and get that solidified. But any final thoughts or comments for tonight, Mohammed?
I mean, I just second what you just said, Eddie. I mean, you know, we have resolved our problem with the quarterback. I believe we got our quarterback, and then the coach, Sean Payton, is a good coach. We know about the whole ego thing. I don't care. He's a good coach. We got a quarterback. We got a coach. And that's what you really need, Eddie. The other stuff would work itself out. I think as we progress with the different, next season, the season after that, we're gonna get better. So I have no doubt in my mind about that at all. So I want to say we have a chance of beating the Chiefs just a tiny bit, Eddie. You know, I don't want to fool myself at the same time. But hey, I've seen crazy things happen before. So what they say, Eddie, any given Sunday.
Yep. And like I said, I don't think it's gonna. It could be this coming up week, maybe. Just depends.
Mhm.
But if I was a betting man, I would bet week 18 the Chiefs are resting their starters and we beat them at home, which is
Mhm.
nice. Like I'm kind of glad they gave us that Chiefs game at home week 18 because if the Chiefs are going to be as dominant as they are or have been, like I feel like that week 18 game they will rest their starters because they're going to probably have the first round bye. They give their starters 2 full weeks to recover and rest before going into the playoffs, and we could sneak a win out of there. But at the same time, like I mean, the Chiefs haven't played today. They play tomorrow against the Bucks. I think I don't know if they're in Tampa Bay or if they're in Kansas City tomorrow. Um, but if they beat the Bucks tomorrow, oh my God, Mohammed, could you imagine if the Bucks or if they beat the Bucks tomorrow night? Now imagine this: if they beat the Bucks tomorrow night, and we go into Kansas City next week, and like you said earlier, it could be a trap game.
Yes.
Trap game. They're like, oh, Broncos, they're not that great. They ain't got that
Mhm.
great of talent on the roster. They just got destroyed by the Baltimore Ravens. They're coming to our house. We're the Chiefs. We're undefeated. We're the Super Bowl defending Super Bowl champs. Could you imagine going into Kansas City next week and kicking their ass? Like even if it's by 1 point, we beat them and we end the undefeated streak. Oh my God, that would be heaven on earth. Because not
Yeah.
only would you beat the Chiefs with a rookie quarterback, but you would end their undefeated streak at
Oh my
home.
God, Eddie. Don't get me started about that. That
Dude,
would be incredible. That would be our Super Bowl, really, Eddie, if you think about it.
oh my God. Like, no, I don't think that would be, well, yeah. But if the Broncos can pull that off, like I said, I got them losing next week because of everything I said earlier. But if they manage to pull that win out next week, and we're sitting at 6-4 with those 4 games coming up with the Falcons, the Raiders, the Colts, the Browns,
The confidence that the team would have. Yeah.
dude, that would be an epic win. Like, and I would love, and I'm not even going to mess with you, Muhammad. I will be on Facebook if they beat the Chiefs next week. And I am going to rub that in their face so hard. Be like, huh, I thought you guys were undefeated. Oh, wait, not anymore. Sorry.
You don't have to tell me, Eddie. I know. I know what you're gonna do.
Bro, like that would be epic. I would love it to death. But anyway, my final thoughts is on this whole thing, like I just want to see Bonex keep getting better. Um, I've been saying that every week, and it's true. Like he does get better every week. I mean, he'll have a week here and there where he's stagnant, like today. I mean, he could have had 2 touchdowns, but thanks a lot, Garrett Bowles. Um, but just keep getting better, and hopefully, this team just stays competitive. Um, Bo Nix, he's the guy of the future. I don't care what anybody says. They can all be a bunch of whiny little toddlers for all I care. Like I was actually arguing with somebody earlier. I was like, the only reason why we were competitive in the first half, which is what I said, was
Mhm.
because of Sutton and Bo Nix. And this guy's like, competitive? We lost 41 to 10. I'm like, did you not just read my post? I said in the first half. I'm like, if Garrett Bowles doesn't hold, guess what? Bo Nix has got 2 touchdowns on the day, a passing touchdown that he caught and a rushing touchdown. And the Broncos are still in that game in the first half. Like it would be 17-14 at that point, And I also said that could have shifted the whole momentum of the game. Maybe the defense plays harder. Maybe they, get a stop. Maybe something goes their way. Like momentum's a real thing. I've seen it way too many times in this league that if the Broncos get that touchdown that Bo Nix rushes in and the Broncos are sitting at 14-17. Go, like late in the second half or second quarter. No telling what could have happened. So, but those are my final thoughts. Mohammed, it's been great talking to you. Hopefully next week we'll have a better discussion if the Broncos do upset the Chiefs. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood. But all in all, Mohammed, like I said, I'm not that upset about tonight. You know, it kind of sucked getting blown out, but
It
it
is
is
what it
what it
is.
is. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, I'm gonna jump off here. Mohammed, you have a great night, man.
All right, you too, Eddie. Take care.
Talk to you guys later.